Thanks, guys. A Fox News alert. A flood of new information is coming out about Minnesota's massive fraud scandal. Each new revelation is fueling more and more demands for answers from Democrat Governor Tim Walz and his administration. The FBI saying it's massing resources to get those answers. This is the Faulkner Focus. Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Banderas, in for Harris today. So an independent journalist is documenting some damning sites at multiple Somali-run child care centers in Minneapolis. The videos are shocking. They show misspelled signs, boarded up windows, locked doors at no children at the centers that reportedly received millions of dollars in state and federal funding. Walz's office pushed back against the videos, saying, quote, the governor has worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. He has strengthened oversight, including launching investigations into these specific facilities, end quote. House Majority Whip and Minnesota Republican Tom Emmer with this.
If what they're saying is real and can be documented, and what they're saying is they told Tim Walz about the fraud when it was happening, and he not only ignored them, he retaliated against him. I'm telling you, Molly, if that's accurate and it can be proven, Tim Walz needs to be held accountable. Everybody in his administration needs to be held accountable. It's time that we find answers to all these questions and hold everybody accountable.
You know, it defies all logic and reason to believe that Governor Walz was ignorant of what was happening in Minnesota. Let's be clear. He was campaigning on it last year with respect to the campaign with Vice President Harris in her run for the presidency. He literally was talking about it. Thank God that President Trump won that election. Thank God that we do not have a Harris-Walz presidency, because they would be encouraging this to continue, whereas this president is rooting out the fraud, securing the border, stopping the flow of people into our country. But this is what happens when you have massive welfare programs that are funding people that are coming into our country, whether it's illegally or frankly through legal channels that are being abused by the radical left and the Marxists who want this to occur. The Somali community knew full well what they were doing. It's a part of an enterprise-wide effort that's global, tied to the United Nations, tied to world organizations, NGOs, our own taxpayer dollars that are being used against us while we import people to be put on the welfare state, to be put on Medicaid, and to take taxpayer money. It's fraud that has to be stopped, and people need to be removed, deported, denaturalized, and sent back to Somalia.
Welcome back, guys. When I watched this report, I honestly stopped and said, wait a minute, how is this even possible in America? This story is not small. This is not a mistake. This is about money, power, and people who were supposed to protect the system but failed to do it. The report talks about a huge fraud case in Minnesota. We are talking about child care centers that were supposed to take care of kids. But when journalists went there, they found empty buildings, doors were locked, windows were covered, signs were spelled wrong. Some places looked abandoned. No children, no teachers, nothing. Yet these places were getting millions of dollars from state and federal funds. One center was licensed for almost 100 children, but it had over 120 violations in just 3 years. Think about that. Any normal business would be shut down. But this place stayed open on paper and kept getting money. Almost $8 million since 2019. On top of that, the owners also got PPP loans that were forgiven. That means taxpayers paid for it and no one paid it back. So the big question is simple. How did this go on for so long? The fraud did not start yesterday. It started years ago, even before Governor Tim Walz took office. But people say he was warned, reporters were sent, whistleblowers spoke up, and still nothing stopped it. His office says he worked hard to stop fraud and asked lawmakers for more power. But critics say that excuse does not make sense. Congressman Tom Emmer says the governor knew and did nothing. He even says whistleblowers were punished instead of protected. Congressman Chip Roy goes even further. He says it makes no sense at all to believe the governor had no idea. He says no leader can miss something this big. And honestly, many Americans feel the same way. When millions of dollars move, someone always knows. Money leaves a trail. This was not hidden, it was ignored. Then the report moves to Ilhan Omar. And this is where things get even more serious. Her wealth is now under heavy scrutiny. According to her own financial disclosure, her net worth jumped by about 3,500% in just 1 year. That is not normal, that is not common. That raises questions. The report says her husband is linked to a venture capital firm worth about $25 million. And right when questions started, details were removed from the company website. That does not look good. When people have nothing to hide, they do not erase information. Now, no one is saying guilt is proven. But in America, when numbers do not add up, people expect answers. Congressman Roy says this should be investigated fully. He even mentions denaturalization of laws were broken. That is a strong statement and it shows how serious this situation has become. This is not about race, this is not about religion, this is about law and fairness. Every citizen is supposed to follow the same rules. If a regular American did this, they would already be in court. The report also connects this fraud to a bigger issue: immigration and welfare abuse. Congressman Roy argues that weak border policies allow fraud to grow. He says when systems are loose, bad actors take advantage. And the people who suffer are taxpayers and families who truly need help. He compares this to the Trump administration's border policies. He says during that time, millions were deported or self-deported. For 7 months, no illegal immigrants were released into the country. He believes those policies worked and should be locked into law so future leaders cannot undo them. He also talks about giving states more power. If the federal government fails to secure the border, states should be able to sue. His point is simple. If Washington fails, states should not be forced to stay silent. Whether you agree or not, one thing is clear. Americans are tired. They are tired of double standards. They are tired of seeing elites walk away while regular people struggle. They are tired of hearing excuses instead of seeing action. This story hits hard because it involves children, public money, and trust. Child care centers are supposed to be safe places. That money was meant to help families, not line pockets. If leaders knew and stayed quiet, that is a problem. If money grew too fast with no clear reason, that is a problem. If whistleblowers were punished, that is a problem. And if investigations are blocked, that is a problem. America is built on accountability. No one should be above the law. No, not governors, not members of Congress, not anyone. This is why stories like this matter, not because of politics, but because of trust. People want honesty, they want transparency, and they want justice done the right way. At the end of the day, this is not left versus right. This is right versus wrong. And Americans are watching closely. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more important stories. And I will see you in the next video.